You already tried the plunger. I know you did. Before you ever typed a word into a search bar, you went under the sink or out to the garage, and you came back with that rubber cup on a wooden stick. You put it over the drain, and you worked it up and down until your shoulder got tired, and the water sat there. Maybe it dropped an inch. Maybe it burped once and came right back up. So you decided the plunger does not work on a kitchen sink. Most people decide that. Then they go buy a bottle of drain cleaner, or they pick up the phone and book a service call, and somebody comes out, runs a machine for 6 minutes, and hands them a bill. Here is what I want you to hear before anything else. You were not doing it wrong. You were doing it incomplete. There is one step in front of the plunging that almost nobody does, and without it, the plunger is not a clog tool at all. It is just a thing that makes noise and splashes your shirt. That step takes about 20 seconds. Once it is done, the actual plunging takes 2 minutes. Not 2 minutes of hoping. 2 minutes of the pressure actually arriving where the clog is, because you left it nowhere else to go. I am going to show you the whole thing, the skipped step, the plunging itself, and the honest edges of it, where it works and where it does not. I have been in residential plumbing for right around 30 years. I learned most of it from my Uncle Ray, who did the work before me and had no patience for anything sold in a bottle. He used to say the drain does not care what the label promises. It only cares about pressure and where you point it. He was right, and this whole video is really just that one sentence stretched out until you can use it. Now let me square up with the title, because I am not going to sit here and let a title do work the video cannot back up. It says any kitchen sink. That is true inside a boundary, and I am going to tell you that boundary plainly before we are done. Soft blockages near the fixture, grease, food, coffee grounds, soap scale, the ordinary kitchen garbage. That is the overwhelming majority of kitchen clogs. It is not every possible thing that can happen to a drain line, and I will tell you exactly where it stops. It also says faster than a plumber's machine. I stand behind that one, and I will explain why in fair terms, not as a brag. A machine is not slow because it is bad. It is slow because of everything it has to do before it can even start. One more thing, and then we get to the method. There is one kitchen sink you must never put a plunger over. If yours is in that condition, right this minute, doing what I am about to show you could land you at an urgent care getting your eyes flushed out. It is not rare, either. It is sitting under a lot of sinks tonight. I will tell you exactly how to know. Hold on to that. Before we start, you ought to know where a fix like this comes from. Not a lab. The trade itself, shop floor knowledge that walks out the door when the old hands retire. Somebody wrote it down before it went missing. It is written down in a digital book, 101 Ways to Unclog Any Drain. You download it. It runs drain by drain through the house. Kitchen sink and disposal, bathroom, tub and shower, toilet, laundry, and floor drains, the main line. The kitchen chapter carries this sealing work and what to reach for when a plunge is not the answer. If you want it, pick up your phone, open the camera, and hold it toward the square code on the screen. A little bar appears at the top. Tap that, or skip all of it. The link is sitting in the description. Go at whatever speed suits you. Nothing is going anywhere. I will be right here. All right, back to your sink and back to that standing water, because the first thing we do has nothing to do with the plunger at all. It has to do with everywhere the pressure can run off to. A plunger does not scrub anything. It does not dissolve anything. All it does is move a column of water back and forth inside a pipe, hard, so the clog gets shoved one direction and yanked the other until it lets go and heads down the line. That works beautifully. It works on one condition. The water has to have exactly one place to go. Here is what your kitchen looks like to that column of water. If you have a double basin, Those two bowls do not run to separate lines. They meet under the cabinet, usually within a foot of each other, in a fitting shaped like a T laid on its back. So when you push down on the left bowl, the water does not drive toward the clog. It takes the shortcut. It goes across the T and shoots straight up out of the right bowl. You have probably watched it do exactly that and thought it was funny. If you have a dishwasher, there is a second escape route. That drain hose ties into the same plumbing, either into the disposal or into the sink drain itself. Push hard on the sink, and part of that push runs backward up a soft rubber hose. Rubber swells. Pipe does not. Every bit of pressure that goes into swelling that hose is pressure the clog never feels. That is the whole failure. Nothing about your arms, nothing about your plunger. The pressure had cheaper places to go, and pressure always takes the cheap way out. Now the promise I made you. Never put a plunger over a sink that is holding drain cleaner. Here is why that matters so much. The bottle did not work. That is why the water is still standing there. So now you have a sink full of water with a caustic chemical mixed all through it, sitting and waiting, and a plunger throws water. That is what it is built to do. It throws it up over the rim, onto the counter, onto your forearms, onto your face if you are leaning over the bowl to watch what is happening. Caustic burns. It does not warn you first. How do you know? Think back over the last day or two. Did anybody in the house pour something down there? Is the water cloudy or odd-colored? Is there a bottle under the sink with the cap off? If any of that is a yes, or if you simply are not certain, treat it as a yes. What you do instead is get it out of there. Rubber gloves, eye protection, an old plastic cup, and a bucket. Bail that bowl down to almost nothing, slowly, no splashing, and set the bucket somewhere the kids and the dog cannot reach until you can get rid of it properly. Then come back to me. Step 1, and this is the 20 seconds nobody spends. Seal every opening except the one you are working on. Start with the other basin. Take a rag, a hand towel, a washcloth, anything cloth you do not love, and get it wet. Wring it out so it is heavy and damp, not dripping. Wet cloth matters. Dry cloth stays fluffy and lets air slip past the fibers. Wet cloth packs down tight and turns into a plug. Push it into that second drain opening, not laid over the top. Down into the hole, worked in with your fingers until it is snug. And here is the part people skip even when they get this far. You have to hold it. Put the flat of your hand on top of that rag and lean some weight on it. If somebody else is home, this is the perfect job for them because you want your own weight going into the plunger. If your sink has a real stopper that seats down in the drain, you can use that instead. But the same rule applies. Hold it down hard the entire time. A stopper that is only resting there will lift off the seat on the first good push. Ask me how I know. Single bowl sink. Good news, you just skipped a step. Move on. Step 2, the dishwasher. Open the cabinet under the sink and find the hose. Soft and ribbed, usually white or gray, running from the dishwasher over to the disposal or to the sink drain. 2 things to look at. First, trace where it goes at the top. That hose should climb up high, near the underside of the countertop, and be strapped or clipped up there before it comes back down to the drain. That arch is called a high loop, and it is the only thing keeping dirty sink water out of your dishwasher. If it is lying flat across the bottom of the cabinet, that is worth fixing on its own, clog or no clog. Second, for the 2 minutes you are about to spend, that hose needs to stop being an escape route. A spring clamp from the garage, the kind with the handles you squeeze, works fine across the rubber. So does a good grip from a helper's hand. Do not go hunting for pliers and do not crank down on it. You are pinching a hose for 2 minutes, not trying to crush it. Step 3, and now we are almost ready to actually plunge something. 2 things have to be right, the cup and the water. The cup first. You want the plain one. A simple rubber dome on a stick, no extra flange hanging down off the bottom. That flange style is built for a toilet, where it seats into a molded throat. On a flat sink bottom, it fights you, and it will not lay flat. The plain cup is the older design, and for this job it beats the fancier one every time. And it should be a plunger that has never been in a toilet. Keep a kitchen one. It lives under the sink. Now the water. You need water standing over that cup, covering it completely, an inch or two above the rim. If your sink is nearly empty, run some in. Here is the reason, and it is the whole reason. Water does not squash, air does. If there is air trapped under that cup, your push just squeezes the air into a smaller ball, and the clog never feels a thing. Water passes the push straight down the pipe with nothing lost. Step 4. The stroke itself. Set the cup down over the drain at an angle, one edge first, and roll it down flat. That pushes the air out sideways instead of trapping it under there. You will feel it seat. Now, and this is the rhythm that matters. Press down slow and pull up sharp. Slow on the way down. You are not hammering the clog, you are loading the whole column of water against it and holding that push for a beat. Sharp on the way up. That is the stroke doing the real work, because the yank pulls a vacuum behind the clog and drags it back toward you. Grease that will not move forward will very often let go when it gets pulled the other direction. Down slow, up sharp, down slow, up sharp. 15 to 20 of those. That is it. That is your 2 minutes. Keep the cup seated the entire time. Do not let it break loose and slurp air on the upstroke, because the second it does, you are back to squeezing air and the column is gone. If it lifts, reseat it and start your count over. And keep that rag held down. Every single stroke. Your helper will want to let up around number 8. Do not let them. You will know when it goes. There is no mystery to it. The water turns from sitting to swirling. Sometimes it drops all at once with a sound like a bathtub letting go. Sometimes it starts as a slow, steady pull that gets faster while you watch. Either one is a win. When it clears, lift the rag out of the other basin, release the dishwasher hose, and run hot tap water down that drain for a solid 2 or 3 minutes. Not boiling water off the stove. Hot from the tap. That flush matters. You did not vaporize the grease. You broke it up and shoved it downstream in pieces, and you want a good push of hot water behind those pieces to carry them out to the main instead of letting them cool off and set up again 40 feet down the line. Run the disposal for a few seconds while the water runs, if you have one. Now the title claim, and I want to be fair about it. Faster than a plumber's machine. Here is the honest math. When I show up with a drum machine for a kitchen sink, I do not start snaking. I clear out the cabinet. I put a bucket and towels down. I open the trap or pull the clean out. I feed cable, and that cable has to travel 25 feet, sometimes further, before the head is anywhere near your problem. Then I run it, then I pull it back out, and every foot of it comes back coated, and that goes in a bucket. And then there is the cleanup. That is a real job. Call it 30 to 45 minutes done properly. The sealed plunge does not travel anywhere. It works right where the clog is, from the top, no cable, and no mess. For a soft clog within a few feet of the fixture, which is most kitchen clogs, it is genuinely faster. That is not a slogan. That is the difference between reaching something and driving to it. And I will say the other part out loud. The cup plunger runs about $8 one time, and it sits under your sink for 20 years. A drain call in most of the country runs $150 to 250. That math does not need me to explain it. Now, where it stops. Because this is the part that keeps you out of trouble. The sealed plunge is for soft blockages near the fixture. Grease that cooled and coated the pipe. Food packed in behind it. Soap and starch scale. That is the bulk of what plugs a kitchen line. It is not for solids. If a bottle cap, a wine cork, a chunk of bone, or a kid's toy went down there, no amount of pressure makes it dissolve. You will just pack it in tighter. Between you and me, a plunger on a solid object is how a 15-minute job turns into a real one. Here is your tell. Plunge properly, sealed, 20 strokes, and get absolutely nothing. Not slow drainage, nothing at all. No movement, no change in the water level. That usually means something solid, and it is almost always sitting in the trap, that U-shaped bend right under the sink, which is still a homeowner job. Bucket under the trap. Loosen the 2 slip nuts, and 9 times out of 10, those turn by hand. No wrench. Pull the U down. Whatever it is falls in the bucket. Rinse it out. Hand tighten the nuts back on. Run water. Watch for drips. 15 minutes, and the only thing you needed was a bucket. And here is where I stop you. Go look at the rest of the house. Flush a toilet. Run the tub. Run the bathroom sink. If the kitchen is backing up and something else is backing up too, at the same time, put the plunger down. That is not a kitchen problem. That is your main line, the single pipe carrying everything out to the sewer, or the septic, and when that is blocked, every drain in the house is looking for somewhere to go. Plunging one fixture on a blocked main just moves the mess to a different fixture. Usually the lowest one, usually a basement floor drain or a downstairs shower. That is a call for a licensed drain pro with a real machine. I have made a living on those calls, and I am telling you straight, it is not a DIY afternoon. Knowing which is worth more than any trick I could show you. 2 quick habits before I go. Grease does not belong in a drain, not with hot water behind it, not with soap chasing it. Hot water only carries it a few feet before it cools and sticks to the pipe wall. And now it is a filter catching everything else that comes by. Coffee cup, jar, freeze it, throw it out. And once a week, run hot water down that drain for a full minute with the disposal going. That is the entire prevention program. One last thing, and this one is not in the sequence. Call it a bonus. If your plunger lives in a cold garage, or it is an old one and the rubber has gone stiff, it will not seal no matter how carefully you set it down. Stiff rubber does not conform to a sink bottom, so fill the sink with hot tap water and stand the plunger in it. Cup down for 2 or 3 minutes before you start. The rubber softens and comes back to life. It seats flat, it grips, and it holds through 20 hard strokes instead of slipping off on the 6th. Uncle Ray did that on every cold call he ever went on, and never once explained why. Took me years to figure out he was not just warming his hands. So there it is. You did not need a machine, and you did not need a bottle. You needed the 20 seconds in front of the plunging that nobody spends. Every drain in your house has a fix like that behind it. One skipped step that changes the whole outcome. That is what 101 Ways to Unclog. Any Drain is for. It is a digital book you download, and it covers the whole house. Toilets, tubs, and showers. The laundry standpipe, floor drains, and everything headed out to the main. The fixes are built around things already sitting in your cabinet. Same 2 ways in. Phone camera at the square code on your screen, or the link waiting for you in the description below. And if you want more old trade, know how that keeps your money in your pocket, Subscribe to the Vintage Pipe Fitter. There is a new one every week. I am the Vintage Pipe Fitter. Take care of your house, and it will take care of you. Next time, I am getting into the toilet that runs all night. The one that fills for 10 seconds every 20 minutes and quietly runs up your water bill while you sleep. One small rubber part. About 11 minutes of your life. I will see you then.